said, we're beginning a brand new module today, and we just finished a module on ancient Greece. Many of you guys have already taken your test. You did a fantastic job. Some of you guys, like many of your other assignments, just didn't do it. So you might want to do that. But today we're doing module 6.1, and it's on the Roman Republic. The Roman Republic. So, we are talking about a different place in the world. And the first time, whenever we talk about a new place, the first thing we always have to talk about is, nice and loud, geography. So let's look at the geography of Rome. Now, Rome itself is just a city. It's just a city, okay? It's located in what present-day country? It's shaped like a boot. Italy, okay? As you can see here on these two maps I have, this is like a geographical view from space of the country of Italy. And as you can see, it's like a lady's boot. It has a heel on it. It's even kicking this island here called Sicily. All right? So this is Italy today. And Rome is located about right there where that red pointer is. Okay? About right there on the western coast of Italy. Rome itself is built on a set of 7 hills. There's like 7 hills. And these hills are located near a river, just like almost all ancient civilizations. The cities spring up around river valleys. And the river that Rome is located next to is called the Tiber. Tiber. The Tiber River, as you can see it right here. Now, Rome is not exactly a coastal town, but its relation on the river, which is close to the coast, makes it a port city because people can sail up the river a little bit into Rome. All right? Now, if you look at Rome's location on Italy itself, you'll see that it's kind of midway on the boot, right? It's midway, kind of in the middle. Italy itself is what geographic formation? It's a peninsula. It's an area of land surrounded by water on 1, 2, 3 sides. All of this is the Mediterranean Sea, but they break it down into smaller portions. The eastern coast of Italy is the Adriatic. The southern coast is the Ionian Sea. And the western coastal sea of Italy is called the Tyrrhenian. So water and travel and trade on the water are all very important to Italy and to Rome itself. Okay? Now, we're looking at ancient Rome. It's not the ancient Italian Empire. It's the ancient Roman Empire, because the city of Rome is where the hub of it all, is where it all begins. Okay? So, Rome, as I was mentioning, it's right in the middle of the peninsula, with the southern tip of Italy and the southern part of Italy being really good for agriculture, and the northern more industrial. And with the border of Italy, the northern border of Italy, are some mountains that separate Italy from Switzerland and Austria. Do you know what mountain range this is that separates Italy from the rest of Europe? Starts with an A, and it's not Appalachian. The Alps. The Alps. So these are the Alps. You can't see them here, but that's the northern border of Italy that separates Italy from the rest of Europe. And Rome itself is located midway between the Alps and the southern tip of Italy on the Italian peninsula. Okay, so are we clear on the geography? Seven Hills, Tiber River, Peninsula, Alps. Got all that? Okay. So let's look at how these early people in the city of Rome governed themselves. This is the way they did things. Just like most ancient societies, Rome began with monarchs. Kings and queens ruled. Over time, it became a republic. What is a republic? What's the difference between a republic and a monarchy? It all has to do with who's in charge. Michaela.
Is a republic like, is it like, sort of like where there's like people pick you something?
You're exactly right. Keep on going.
Like a democracy?
It is part of it is a type of democracy. Okay? It's not like Greece's democracy where every citizen would vote every day. That's a direct democracy. This is a Republican democracy, which is what we have. We don't vote every day. I'm a registered voter. I don't vote every day. What I vote for people to vote for me. And if I like them and they're doing a good job, I keep voting for them. If they're doing a crummy job and I disagree with them, I vote for someone else. That is a republic. That is how Republican government works. And it's still a democracy because ultimately, those people that I'm voting for, who are they accountable to? Who are their bosses? Who do they have to answer to? The citizens. Okay. Now in America, this is where we differ from ancient Rome quite a bit. In America, how many types of citizens are there? One. You're either a citizen or you're not. Okay? Rome was not like that. They had two types of citizens. Okay? There's formally no such thing as a second-class citizen in the United States. Formally. But Rome did. They formally had a second-class citizen. And the two types of citizens that they had, one's called plebeians, and the other's called patricians. The plebeians would be more like your average, everyday people. Farmers, merchants, artisans. Most people were plebeians. Whereas patricians, those are your wealthy landowners. Those are your people that we're going to talk about in history. That's your Julius Caesars. That's your Marcus Crassus. That's your Octavian Augustus. Okay? That's your wealthy, powerful people. Okay? They're both citizens. Now, obviously, one's more powerful than the other because of their wealth. So they did have an economic aspect to their citizenry. Whereas, Bill Gates, one of the richest guys in the world, he's just as much a citizen of the United States as I am. I'm just a lowly, underpaid school teacher. Okay? So, plebeians and patricians, those are your two types of citizens that existed in ancient Rome. All right? Now, we also said that Rome is a republic. And Michaela described for us what a republic is. It's where the power rests with the citizens. And the citizens would vote among themselves. Plebeians would vote for plebeians. And then the plebeians would have like a plebeian representative to represent them in their decision making. And the wealthy people would vote amongst themselves. And so there would be a patrician leader. Does this make sense? Okay, so that's how their republic worked. Which group had the most people in it? Which one was the largest? The plebeians. Most people that resided in Rome were plebeians. Okay? All right, so As time rolls on, and as agriculture grows, and as the city of Rome grows, they have to create some written laws. And the first written laws in Rome are referred to as the 12 tables. The 12 tables. You know, we talked about how in Mesopotamia, their first written laws were the Code of Hammurabi. Well, in Rome, their first written code of laws are called the 12 tables. This, in the 12 tables, it's really the first time power is given to citizens instead of, monarchs or oligarchs, small groups of leaders. And the citizens were allowed to elect their own leadership. The citizens were allowed to elect their own leadership. So, as we mentioned, there are two types of citizens. The plebs, whenever they elected a person to represent them, that person was called a tribune. So tribunes were elected by the plebeians, or the plebs for short. And the tribunes represented the plebs. So it was their job to make sure that they did what was in the best interests of the plebeian citizenry. Now the patricians, they also had their own representative. And if you were a patrician, and you were elected by other patricians to represent patricians, you became a senator. And in the entire Roman Empire, they had 300 senators. 300. As you'll notice here, there's no president, there's no prime minister, there's no singular authority. They ruled as like a unicameral legislature, one house. All right. Now, occasionally, crisis would happen. Barbarians would try to invade the city of Rome and steal their grain supply, or a plague would hit, and people had to, decisions had to be made rapidly. When that would happen, the patricians would choose one among themselves to be an absolute dictator, temporarily. And then, once the crisis was over, they were supposed to give the power back. And they did that over several occasions in history. Mr. Moore? Hey. Yes, sir? Yes, sir? No, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, no problem. Call Mr. Poe needs to see you. You know where he is?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I was talking about like how in times of crisis, the patricians would choose one amongst themselves to be like an absolute ruler or a dictator. And then once the crisis was resolved, that dictator gives the power back and just goes back to being a senator, and the people were in charge again. And this worked for them. Can you imagine us doing that in American society? Like somebody that's been a dictator with absolute power and then they have to give it back? It takes a high character individual. One such person who did this in Rome, his name was Cincinnatus. Cincinnatus, that's where we get, you ever heard of Cincinnati, Ohio? Named after Cincinnatus, okay? And, this is just what they did from time to time. Okay? So questions on the 12 tables and how the Roman Republic came about and how it operated and how it's a little different than ours. Now, I say it's different than ours. Do you think that we stole some of our government from the Romans? For sure. For sure. Okay? They didn't mind that. They're long gone. Okay. Now, yeah, they created this neat government. It's all well and good. And they have a republic and the people are in charge. But if they're really going to enforce their will on others and make people do what they say and become one of the most powerful empires to ever exist, what do they got to have that's really, really good? Say it one more time. That's right. And the Roman military is one of the finest to ever exist. If you were a man that owned land, you were in the military. Okay? Now, if you did not own land, you were not in the military. All Roman men that owned land were in the army. And the Roman army was organized into different groups. The largest of those groups were called legions. Legions. So all citizens with land were in the army, and they organized themselves into groups called legions. 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 Okay, now each legion is broken into two different types of fighting unit. One type is called infantry. What's this? This is where you give babies swords? Infantry. Crickets. All right. The infantry are like foot soldiers with shields and spears and swords. All right. That is what infantry is. Foot soldiers. The other part, the other fighting unit is called cavalry. 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 What's cavalry do? How do they fight? From horseback. So infantry are foot soldiers. Cavalry fights on horses. And it's, that remains the fighting style of humanity up until the industrial age, when we started using machine guns and howitzers and cannons and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so but the Roman army was extremely disciplined, and it had a great fighting skill, and they fought for the Roman Empire. They fought for glory for Rome. And that was a big part of Rome's success. Their army led to a lot of success for the Roman Empire. Okay? All right. So, something has to happen, though, in order to make Rome a superpower. Because they didn't become a superpower overnight. And what happens is a series of wars called the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars. These wars are not just like a couple battles that take, a couple days. This is a long period of time, all right? It's actually a set of 3 wars, the Punic Wars. But they are fought between the same 2 sides. One side is obviously Rome, and the other side is called Carthage. Carthage. And as you can see by our map here, Carthage is located on the northern coast of Africa. Okay? It's on the northern coast of Africa. I believe that this would be like Libya today. All right? So, if you are from Carthage, you are called a Carthaginian. That's what you are referred to as. It's like you're from America, you're an American. Carthaginians are from Carthage. So, but the Punic Wars were 3 wars fought between the city of Rome and the city of Carthage. Okay? What are they fighting over? Can you guess? Not land, but water. What water? The Mediterranean Sea. Who is going to have the access? Who is going to be allowed to trade? Whose boats are going to be allowed to use the shipping lanes exclusively? I guess they just couldn't share. So they have to kill each other over it. That's what all the fighting's about. And you can see that these wars take place quite a long time ago. 264 BC. It's just one period of time in which the Punic Wars were fought. As I said, it's a series of 3 wars. Obviously, who wins? Rome. If Carthage won, Module 6 would be Module 6-1, the Carthaginians. But they lost. Okay? And Rome wins. Because Rome wins, they gain advantage over all the Mediterranean Sea. And they almost have exclusive rights to ship their products and have things shipped to them from really all over the world. Okay? They gain dominance over the Mediterranean Sea. And this was their main enemy. Their main enemy. His name was Hannibal Barca. He was a Carthaginian. And from a very young age, he was an enemy of Rome. That's Hannibal. And there are still statues to Hannibal found throughout North Africa to this day. And once Hannibal Barca and the Carthaginians are defeated, it gave Rome the dominance over the Mediterranean Sea. And as you can see here, once it's won, Rome was now able to transport their things and people and military all throughout the civilized world. And it allowed for Rome to conquer different areas. And when they conquer people, they would make them pay them and tribute. They would tax them, which increased the economy of the city of Rome, which made Rome grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So eventually it really grows too big, and they're unable to protect it and rule it all. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the fall of the Roman Empire. But today, Rome is growing, and it's building. And they do it through violence, by defeating the Carthaginians. So once the Carthaginians are defeated, Rome becomes the strongest power in the Mediterranean Sea, stronger than the Egyptians and the Phoenicians and all those other places that we've talked about, because they have access to trade in all of the Mediterranean. But this new power and this new growth brings a brand new set of difficulties for Rome. You ever heard that? Mo money, mo problems? You ever heard that? It holds true for the Romans. And that's some of the things that we're going to look at when we get into sections 2, 3, and 4. All right. So questions on this beginning module, on module 1 on the Roman Republic? Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask.